How can you make passive income? And is it really passive? Let's find out. Meet Kim Rittberg, a 6-time award-winning marketer dedicated to helping you become a thought leader through video to get more leads and make more money. Why is she talking about herself in the third person? Not entirely sure. Everyone talks about passive income, but can you really make money while you sleep, like all these people say? I spoke with Pat Flynn, founder of Smart Passive Income. Talk to me about, as someone's first thinking about doing passive income, what's the first thing that they should be thinking about?
You should be realizing that passive income is pretty much a myth. It doesn't exist. And it might sound interesting for a person with a brand name, Smart Passive Income, to say that. But in general, nothing is 100% passive unless you are, Bobby Bonilla from the Mets, who gets a check from them every single year for doing nothing because of a really nice negotiation you made a long time ago, or a movie that maybe you were in that you still get royalties for. Other than that, even things that are considered passive income, like investing in the stock market or real estate, you still have to actively upkeep those things over time. Where I came in with my brand, Smart Passive Income, it was mainly back in 2008 when I started the website, a keyword and search engine play. A lot of people were looking up passive income at the time. I think this was largely due to people like Tim Ferriss, who were talking a lot about making money while you sleep and all these kinds of things, the new rich life, as he called it. But I wanted to get in front of those people and say, no. Yes, you can generate revenue without you putting hours in, but only after you invest a ton of active time to create something that can automatically serve people over time. And that does not happen overnight. So that's where smart passive income came from. It's like, okay, let's get smart about this. It's not going to happen overnight. It is not easy, but it can be done. And here is proof. I did it here. Here's some stories of others who've done it. Here are many different ways that you can do it, from software to affiliate marketing to writing articles to whatever the case may be. And that's where I think the brand took off, because people found me wanting something, passive income, and seeing the truth behind it, which is you got to be very active first. And over time, you can remove yourself from the equation of serving people. Maybe it's a software that takes its place. So this is how I'm able to, generate revenue by selling books, because I've written books and they've get placed on Amazon or on my website. And at any moment in time, even during this interview, a person can buy it and it can be delivered to them, and I can get a PayPal notification from that at any time. But it took time to write that book. It took time to set it up. It took time to put those systems into place, etc. Or you might find an opportunity to put other people, where there is a business that people are required. That person maybe starts with you, but then doesn't have to be you. Maybe you just end up managing a team or building an agency, which again is not necessarily passive, but it removes you from the delivering of service mechanism that's required to generate revenue.
I love this conversation because I'm going to ask Pat about it not being passive. It's the same thing. It's I think it's that idea of make money while you sleep. Okay, of course, 100 things had to happen before you took that nap and woke up with money in your account.
Right.
100 things. So I am sort of new to the coaching and passive income world. I came from media and then was consultant, so hours for time type of project-based work. And now I'm in more of the coaching world. I teach group courses. I haven't done a ton of that passive product, and I've been asked about it by people. I'd love your perspective. For people who have small followings, but are, have accreditations, are respected, maybe their niche, and they have a relatively small following, passive products. What's your view on, do you sell a passive product that's a small amount because it gets people familiar with buying from you, and then they would jump up to your more expensive? Or does it become either cannibalistic, or are you attracting the wrong people? If I'm selling a $47 passive item, but my normal programs are much more expensive, does that make sense to do?
Yeah, I mean, mapping it all out would make sense so that you can see how something of a smaller price point and that is more passive, aka hands off for you, fits into a bigger schematic. So for you, I mean, you coach people, you said, right, Kim? And I would imagine that in that coaching, there are things that you teach and systems that are pretty much going to be universal throughout all the students that you teach, right? Every student's different, and that's where the personalization comes into play. But in general, there's a process and something that you could kind of teach and have taught over and over again. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you could take that thing that gets taught over and over again and package it into something. Maybe it is a online course, for example, or maybe it is a software, right? You develop a software to kind of help people input something and then have a certain output. Great. Those are things that you could sell, and I would advise that you sell them for less than if a person were to hire you for doing the same thing, because it is more of your time, which of course justifies the higher price, but also more personalized, and there's actual conversations that happen to get a person their specific result using that process versus them having to do it on their own. So it's the difference between like DIY and done for you. Now there's also a middle ground. There's the idea of done with you, right? So this would be the equivalent of like if you have this process and you have a course, okay, maybe you're not coaching one-on-one, but maybe it's 1 to 10. So you create a group or cohort of people that you run through that same process, and you're teaching maybe 10 people at a time. And what's really interesting about that at the middle ground is that there's a lot of opportunity for those people to also learn and inspire and connect with each other and hold each other accountable, which in some cases is just as valuable, if not more, than sometimes the one-on-one, because they're seeing other people like them go through it too. So that's often a middle ground. And what's really nice about having those multiple entry points is you aren't actually cannibalizing, because if a person can get the same result on their own, then wonderful. They have a way to do that. And likely those people would not even utilize the best use of time one-on-one anyway, because they are so driven that they could do it on their own. And that's great. You could serve them, they can move on, and they can become a testimonial. They can move on to your other programs from there if you want. But the cool thing about the coaching is that when you price that, cool things happen. If you have your coaching price and it's like, I'm just going to shoot like $500 to spend a few hours with you coaching, a person who wants coaching from you may not be able to afford that. But now you still have a way to serve them. So instead of getting $0, you are getting 47 or 99 or whatever the dollar amount might be. But on the flip side, what's really cool about that is that a person can see now the value in hiring you one-on-one. The priced anchoring works both ways. So if you have an online course, it's $99. It's like, okay, cool, that's $99. But for $500, I could get Kim, and we can get on calls like that. It just proves that there is more value in working with you one-on-one. And what I find sometimes that happens is sometimes people don't like to do the one-on-one, so they'll actually increase the price of their one-on-one.
I do that
just so that, okay, like we get the really high quality people there. Those are people that are paying a lot higher will typically be the ones to do the work actually more and be less problematic. But then you have, wow, okay, well then the $99 is a huge value if Kim's coaching is $1,000. So that's often a strategy for people who see the benefit of the automated income that can come from passive products, who want to start kind of weaning themselves away off the one-on-ones.
Yeah, because I've thought about that, and I'm like, well, if my group coaching is medium ticket or high ticket, does selling something for $49.99, does it eat away? But then people have said you only unveil a part of your larger thing. Obviously you're not selling for $50 the same thing you're selling for $2,000 or $10,000. It's a part of it, and it's a way for them to try before they buy in a bigger way too.
Exactly. Some people might call that, like, I don't like this term, but a tripwire, right? Or something to kind of get them in the door first, because the price point's a little easier. But what often happens too, and this is great for positioning, it's like if a person buys that and they still don't get the results, you can follow up with those people and say, hey, you're probably just like me. You can't do this on your own. You don't want to learn by just reading or watching videos. You need some help, and you need one-on-one. And guess what? I have that for you. And what you could do is you could sell into the one-on-one from the lower one and say, well, I'll just remove the difference, and you just pay the difference. So it's like a way to get people into your higher end coaching, but with a lower entry point of almost like a tester. You don't want to really give things away for free in that manner that are of value. I mean, free content, obviously, to build authority and to build trust. But, oftentimes when people are giving away things for free, they don't value them as much, and they don't do the work to get the result.